Hello there! In this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know to help you get ready for the OET Listening Part C. We'll take a look at the format, then we'll have a look at the kinds of question tasks you might be getting, and of course, we'll look at those all important test taking tips. Because you can score well if you know what to expect. That's why I think it's really useful for you to spend time familiarising yourself with this part of the test so that you can score as well as you possibly can. My name's Sona and I'm your online OET tutor with Bose Learning. I'm a premium preparation provider of the OET. Okay, let's start by taking a look at the format. If you feel you're happy with the format and you know all about this, feel free to skip forward. I've time-stamped the next part for you. Okay, but in terms of format, let's go through it again so that you can get a really sound understanding of what it is to expect on exam day. You're going to get two unrelated recordings. One is very likely to be a workplace presentation. For example, a senior member of staff or a visitor presenting to a group on a general medical topic, such as the introduction of a new kind of equipment, why it's been used, how it's been used before, etc. The other kind that you are very likely to get is an interview. This is, for example, a podcast, which would be on a general medical topic, but the audience for this podcast is medical professionals. So it's aimed at medical professionals. It's aimed at you, basically. And in terms of the actual questions themselves, well, you'll be given 3 option multiple choice questions. There are 6 questions in each part, so that's a total of 12 altogether. You'll get a question something like this: what does Henry Jones think is the reason for the lack of funding? And you'll be presented with 3 options, A, B or C. You have a listen, you understand, and then you select the most appropriate option by shading in the circle. And it's really useful to know that there are 7 typical scenarios that you could get in this part of the test. So this is all about the focus of the question. If you know what to focus on, it's so much easier to really listen out for the answer. We'll go through each of these 7 now. One could be the experience and views of the main speaker, or it could be of another healthcare professional or a patient that the speaker is talking about. So, for example, it could be what's happened to the speaker themselves or to a patient of theirs as a case study. You could get something like why something is happening or changing or the reasons that it needs to change. So they could be justifying something to you. It might be something about the lessons we need to learn from a particular thing happening, or the importance of case studies. So we've had all these case studies. This is why it's so important, the force of them. It might be different ideas from experts or researchers, or it might be recommendations, of course, things that we should be doing to improve. It's very likely that you'll get a good range of these focuses over the 2 recordings. So once again, just get familiar with them, get used to them, be ready to listen for these focus points, and then you'll be able to do well. Remember, you're not going to be tested on your medical knowledge. This is an English exam. You are going to be tested on your ability to understand ideas and views being discussed. That's why it's really important that you focus in, you narrow down on what the question is asking you, and you listen out for that. Okay, let's go through these top tips. I'm going to give you 8 of them today. And the first one is all about using your preparation time wisely. The first thing, of course, to do is to read through the task quickly, because this is going to give you information about the content and structure. It's going to tell you about what kind of vocabulary or language you might hear. Again, if you're ready for this kind of language, it's so much easier for you to hear it. So get your brain warmed up, get ready to hear the language that's going to come to you. Focus on the question stem, secondly. Really look at what's being asked. Underline any keywords that you need. And then think about what kind of information am I being asked to listen out for. Remember, we've got those 7 scenarios that we went through before. Look at the options, underline keywords in any of those options that you need to. Now, something to just bear in mind if you're doing the computerized version, in terms of keywords, you can still highlight keywords in the context sentence and the question, but you can't highlight anything in the options. You can only select the correct option. So just be careful if you're doing this, then just think about what each option is offering you, but remember, you just won't be able to highlight keywords. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you is to use the questions to guide you if it's an interview. The questions are the skeleton, so there's going to be 6 interview questions that the interviewer is going to be asking and the interviewee is going to be answering. And of course, you have 6 questions in your test. These match up exactly. So follow along with these questions and use the interviewer's questions to guide you as to when to move on to the next question. In terms of the presentation, remember one of the recordings is likely to be a presentation. We won't have an interviewer asking questions. It will just be one person talking. So in this case, what you need to do is listen for expressions to tell you the speaker has moved on. These are going to be the prompts to help guide you through the question. And they're going to be things like discourse markers, topic sentences, signposts, for example. First of all, that's a really common one, isn't it? Moving on. Or something like, what my patient really felt was blah, 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 and that's what you're going to be listening out for. So, my instructions here, or my advice here really, is to follow the order. Okay, preparation tip number 5 then is all about vocabulary. Please remember that you probably won't hear exactly the same words in the recording as are given to you in the options. It's not going to be a case of matchy-matchy. Instead of that, focus on the meaning. That's really key. Don't worry if you don't understand everything, that's absolutely fine. Just listen out for the question that you're being asked. Sometimes you may just need one phrase, one little part of the conversation or presentation to answer the question, but at other times you may need to hear the whole part to be able to answer that question. Don't rush, however. Don't rush. There may be distractors. So sometimes you could hear something that's really close to what's been offered you as an option. But let the speaker finish that part. Let them finish that idea, understand the whole point, and then decide. So just be careful. They might say, some people say this. However, what I feel is this, and that's the bit that you need, of course. So listen really carefully, understand everything, and then decide. Number 7 is all about answering. Answer the questions as you go along, because there's really no time to fill in anything afterwards. And if you're not sure, just choose the option that you think is the most logical, because you're not going to lose any marks. And who knows, you may be right. You've probably understood more than you've realised, so just shade something in that you think is the likely answer. And number 8, overall, listen for evidence. Don't just match, listen for evidence. Why is this particular option the most logical answer? Why aren't these right? What's the evidence to back this up? So really listen for evidence, understand the whole concept, and then choose your option. Again, just to remind you, if you're doing the computerized version, you're not going to be able to underline things in the options, just in the questions, but you can still anticipate. So just practice doing that. And If you're doing the paper version, just make sure your handwriting is legible. You can use block letters, so that's all capital letters, that's fine. Just practice doing that again because it takes a little bit longer to write like that normally. Okay, and that's it. I hope you found this useful. If you want some information about my on-demand courses which are available on Udemy, please take a look at the info box below. I've put in some discount codes for you. And if you like this video, I'd be so happy if you can help my channel grow by sending this to a colleague and sharing this with your friends and liking it and subscribing to us. That'd be wonderful. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask. Just pop them in the comments or even just say hello. It's always great to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Take care. Why not watch one of my other videos on OET Listening Part C where you can do some practice right now. See you there. Bye.